Good morning, y'all. What's up? It's your lady Steph. Y'all, this is a Redbird mint. It's actually like a blueberry mint, and it's so good. So, I'll make a quick video, and then I gotta get going. So, today I want to talk about being too nice and what's the consequences for myself for being too nice and allowing, people in my circle just keep being too nice that is not of my caliber. I'm gonna give a short story, not too descriptive, but somewhat. So basically, first of all, if you already know from the jump that you don't align with certain people mentally, like if you're on a whole nother level and they're on a whole nother level, you already know it's not going to pan out. Why bother? You know what I'm saying? Just dismiss that from the beginning. Because at the end of the day, when they say opposites attract, no, they don't. And not all the time. And I have a pimple here. It's not nothing else. It's a pimple. So when they say opposites do attract, not in certain situations. So sometimes you have to just, when you have your discernment, when you have chest pains, when you have, so where you constantly have intuition about something that's not a good thing or a good individual, or if you just know something is not right, pay attention to that shit. Pay attention to the not sounding or the not thinking or to where it's not right. That's pretty much the truth. Being nice to the point where you just, want to satisfy yourself because of the fact that you're getting somewhat attention. So it's kind of like, oh, well, I'm getting the attention, I don't get it from nobody else. So it's like, let me just keep being nice. That's a personal problem, which I had, which I'm learning how to value, respect myself, respect my decisions, follow my own feel, you know what I'm saying? Keep my guard up, you know what I'm saying? Surroundings, like being in environments that are just toxic, to me, toxic individuals is like environments that I don't engage in and don't want to engage in the future. Sometimes the mindset of people that have like this broke mentality can definitely influence you. Well, for me, knock me off track, maybe I should say, in a certain way. So, excuse me. So that's one of the things that I kind of learned. Being too nice will pretty much can possibly have you caught up going to jail, getting caught up in stuff you ain't even do. And like I said, there's not too much detail in that. Even on social media, that was another thing I learned, being a little too giving with certain information on the internet. Sometimes like you really do have to charge for things for people to respect the value of what you're offering. A lot of times people make YouTube videos literally for free, giving out stuff, talking about this and talking about that. Honestly, I think some of this stuff needs to be sold. If you're selling your life and you're on YouTube every day promoting your brand, there's something that you have to sell to make money. And this is just the truth on what it is. You know what I'm saying? The majority of people that's on YouTube is on here to make content, make money. But at the end of the day, being too nice on YouTube can have you out of your YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Being too real on YouTube it comes with a lot of consequences in the negative stance. Being too friendly to people that you don't even know, that's another thing. You don't know who's watching you. So it's kind of like you can look at your analytics and see that you're getting views, but they'll come back and keep looking. So it's kind of like, okay, well, since I don't know who you are, well, then I have something else, outside of here that basically can, determine who's coming to my website, who's clicking on my stuff, all that. So that makes it a little more better because I have more control of being too nice. I'm trying to think of something else. Yeah, that people will take advantage of you. So, people will take advantage of your emotions. They see that you're this person that can easily give in, or it's to where they kind of see some traits about you to where they can pretty much take advantage of what you got going on. And yeah, I pretty much learned from that too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it kind of takes situations to wake you up, to start being more strict. I wouldn't say start being more mean, but to where just be more cautious of, people, surroundings, thinking about the past situations that pretty much got you to where you are today. Sometimes if you don't learn, sometimes it takes a really hard lesson to really learn, moving on. And basically sometimes things end to where you could be too nice to where it just ends off on a wrong note, and it gets to that point where you're like, no, this is the end. And sometimes the ends have it might have a really good beginning, and then the ending is just fucked up even more. Or sometimes it could be a bad beginning and a bad ending. You know what I'm saying? And if you let, these bad endings and these good beginnings and these if you let that consume you to where it distracts you from just living life and, even your environments, to where, you're just feeling a certain type of way, what you got going on, and it's like, it's affecting you, then I wouldn't say you get emotionally desperate, but there are times where people kind of get, in fear mode. So there's anything that they can do to protect their energy, protect themselves and all that. Like, yeah. So, being too nice comes with consequences. It really do. And a lot of times, you can be setting yourself up for being too nice. I think I want to stop here because, as you all know, I will keep repeating myself differently. But I guess I could have a solution to this, because a lot of people probably will, whoa, Stephanie, what's the solution? The solution is, number one, to be cautious, because I could just say the solution is to not being nice. But it's more than that. This is my solutions. This is not no book solution, but all I know is that the learning lesson should be the solution to where you shouldn't be doing it again, pretty much. So if you really analyze all the situations to where you were being nice, a lot of times when you're a little too nice, there you go. People see that, they'll see gullibleness, and they'll try to take advantage. And once you see that top head, that's when you need to just cut it off, keep it moving from then, because then it won't happen no more. You don't have to deal with, the drama, the trauma after constantly being nice over and over and over again. So it's like, okay, niceness, generousness, when people are not used to, getting good energy, they're used to getting bad vibes. It will literally ruin your vibe on some real shit. So I think the environment is another thing. I feel like if you're in an environment with similar people like yourself, most of the times in return, you'll get similar what you give out. But I think it really depends on the environment at this point in my life. But I can see if you're like giving to the homeless, or somebody that's not as fortunate, or someone that's just struggling, you know what I'm saying? To where you're doing out your heart. And it's kind of like, but people are really going through stuff, you know what I'm saying? And it's to where You know, you got people that will not, I guess, be real, or, and I hate to say people, but y'all know what time it is. Like, y'all know how people can get. And, or being extra greedy, you know, sometimes, like, think about it, you go to a buffet, yeah, it's nice, you pay for it, okay? You pay for the buffetness, then you go eat and eat and eat. So it's like, some people could just take advantage of the buffet. Like, literally, you can pay to go eat at the buffet and turn around and steal from the buffet. And I hate to say steal, but you pay your money. The buffet is generous with all the food and all the stuff, that the service that they're providing. Then it's to where you get so comfortable eating all this food, you're like, yo, let me take it home now. Okay, so then that's the stealing part of the buffet being nice. I don't know. But yeah, it definitely comes with a lot. It comes with people, and I don't want to sound negative, but y'all know what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like a dog biting you, but then it's to where you get bit by the dog, but then you keep attacking it to get bit again, or you keep approaching the same dog that keeps barking at you. So y'all get it. So when one thing happens, you should learn from that lesson. And maybe even twice, maybe in three, maybe 3 strikes you're out. Some people stop at strike 1. Some people stop at strike 2. But when there's 10, 9, 15, 1,000, that's not a learning lesson. That's yourself being emotionally invested to where you're just lost. You're like a lost niceness, okay? And sometimes it takes people to wake up from certain stuff. Sometimes, you know, things have to happen to where it definitely has to just not be nice no more. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, you know, when you're this person that is, you know, what your heart has and what you know, that, you know, the God in you pretty much know how you are. And, you know, after a while, it's kind of like, yo, fuck this. I don't want to deal with nobody. I don't want to be bothered. It kind of gets to that point where you just is like, you know what? I don't want to deal with nobody. I don't want to be around no environments. I want to be by myself. I want to be boxed in. And sometimes that stuff happens, you know, and things like that happens for a season, in my opinion. And sometimes I look back at like the past experiences within the last 5 to 7 years, and it's like, wow, I done really, really like experienced some stuff, and I've matured a lot. I've actually grown a lot. I actually learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? I've actually just faced the reality of for what things are. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's hard to face the reality of what the whole situation, what things that transpired, to where facing it and actually really doing something about it emotionally, the detachment is hard. It's very difficult, but if something is emotionally damaging you mentally, you know, psychologically, it's gotten to the point where it literally just, like, something could just ruin your day within 1 hour. Or you could have your day ruined by a work environment, you know, somebody, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. But, you know, it kind of gets to that point where you have to just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And maybe that's the good thing to say when it comes to being nice. You get sick and tired of being nice, yo. And so this is just a learning lesson, yo. And there's a lot of people that got to find out the hard way of things that pretty much transpire from being too nice, you know? It's like word on the street, or it's to where, you know, people get the buzz about, you know what I'm saying, stuff you got going on. And so this is it. So anyway, y'all, I hope y'all learned something. A lot of y'all probably want to know what I'm talking about. Who am I talking about? What was the situation? Like, y'all can worry about that all day. But at the end of the day, I'm just giving y'all an example, a sample of the consequences of being too nice. I do not want to talk about the positives of being too nice. Y'all already know what it is. But sometimes some people need to know the negative stuff about being too nice to where they could just learn their lesson or listen to the person that done been through some niceness shit and be like, oh shit. Yeah, make you think like I need to stop being like that. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end my video. I have to go start my day and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.